They don't talk about players like Cam Ward when the story begins, because beginnings like his don't trend. No five-star hype, no viral clips, no headlines screaming next big thing. He came from a town so small, football wasn't a dream, it was survival. Friday night lights under a sky everyone shared in West Columbia, Texas, a place where everyone knew your name and expectations were already written for you. Cam didn't grow up throwing the ball 50 times a game. He wasn't trained by private quarterback gurus. He didn't wear elite camps like a badge of honor. Instead, he learned football the hard way: handoffs, misdirection, deception. In an offense designed to hide quarterbacks, he learned how to hide the ball, and eventually, how to hide his intentions. While others chased attention, Cam chased mastery. While inboxes filled for everyone else, his stayed empty. No stars, no rankings, no guarantees. But what the world didn't see was a quarterback quietly building something dangerous: patience, poise, creativity. A belief that being overlooked wasn't a weakness, it was an advantage. Because Cam Ward was never waiting to be discovered, he was preparing to make himself undeniable. West Columbia, Texas isn't the kind of place scouts circle on a map. It's quiet, tight-knit, the kind of town where football doesn't make you famous, it just makes you accountable. Everyone's watching because everyone knows you. This is where Cam Ward grew up, the youngest of four, raised in a competitive household where efforts mattered more than excuses. His parents, Calvin and Patrice Ward, didn't promise him greatness, they taught him work. And in a town of barely 3,000 people, that lesson carried weight. Cam's early football years weren't glamorous. By the time he reached high school, he wasn't slaughtered into some high-octane passing offense designed to pad quarterback stats. Instead, he played in the wing T, a run-heavy system built on power, timing, and deception. Quarterbacks didn't shine here, they survived. For most players, that would have felt like a limitation. For Cam, it became an education. His father, who had run the same offense years earlier, gave him a perspective that changed everything. "Treat it like magic," he told him. Every handoff, every fake, every rollout, make the defense believe something that isn't real. Cam took that to heart. He learned how to sell lies with his eyes, how to hide the ball behind his hip, how patience could be more dangerous than speed. While other quarterbacks were learning how to throw harder, Cam was learning how to think smarter. Friday nights came and went, wins, losses, no headlines either way, no cameras following him off the field, no recruiting buzz filling his phone. But something important was happening beneath the surface. Without realizing it, Cam Ward was building the foundation of the quarterback he would eventually become. One that didn't rely on attention, didn't panic under pressure, and didn't need validation to believe. And even though the world wasn't watching yet, Cam was already preparing for something bigger. By the time Cam Ward reached his senior year, the reality was hard to ignore. No stars next to his name, no rankings, no scholarship offers stacking up behind the scenes. While other quarterbacks celebrated signing days and announcement graphics, Cam was met with silence. Coaches saw the stat line and looked away. A quarterback from a wing T offense didn't fit the blueprint. To them, he was a risk, unproven, unpolished, easy to overlook. But Cam never confused being overlooked with being incapable. He kept working. Camps, reps, long drives just for a chance to throw in front of someone who might care. And finally, at a recruiting camp in San Antonio, something changed. 3 hours from home, with nothing guaranteed, Cam let the ball go, and it didn't come back the same. The spin, the velocity, the confidence. It caught the eye of Eric Morris, head coach at Incarnate Word, a small FCS program rarely mentioned in national conversations. Morris had coached quarterbacks before. He knew what raw talent looked like, and in Cam Ward, he saw something electric beneath the surface. The offer wasn't glamorous. One school, one chance. Cam didn't hesitate. When he arrived on campus, reality hit again. He wasn't the starter. He wasn't even the backup. A proven quarterback already owned the job, and the depth chart didn't leave much room for dreams. But Cam didn't come to wait. Before he ever took a snap, he walked into the head coach's office and said quietly, "I'm going to be the starting quarterback this year." Then he left. No argument, no ego, just belief. Practices were limited. The pandemic had shut the season down. Opportunities were scarce. But day by day, rep by rep, Cam's presence grew. Teammates felt it. Coaches saw it. By the time opportunity finally came knocking, Cam Ward was ready. The zero-star recruit hadn't been given anything. He was about to take it. Opportunity didn't arrive the way Cam Ward imagined. It arrived quietly, in the middle of chaos. The 2020 season was broken. Practices were limited. Games disappeared overnight. For most quarterbacks buried on a depth chart, that would have been the end of the road. But when Arkansas State reached out to Incarnate Word about a late-season matchup, everything changed. For the first time, there was something real to prepare for. Coach Eric Morris turned the moment into a competition, and suddenly, Cam had what he'd been waiting for, a chance. Practice after practice, he took control. The huddle responded. The offense moved differently. Confidence replaced hesitation. The game never happened. A COVID outbreak shut everything down before the team could even board the plane. But the decision had already been made. Cam Ward was the starting quarterback. From that moment on, the climb accelerated. In just 2 seasons, Cam transformed Incarnate Word's offense into one of the most explosive units in the FCS. Touchdowns came in bunches. Defenses couldn't predict him. He threw with patience, extended plays with creativity, and played the position like he'd been doing it on this stage his whole life. Then came another turning point. Eric Morris accepted an offensive coordinator job at Washington State. For Cam, it wasn't just a coaching move, it was a question. Stay and finish what he started, or follow the coach who believed in him before anyone else did? So Cam entered the transfer portal. This time, silence was gone. 15 programs called. Big names, big promises, big money. Ole Miss rolled out the red carpet, NIL deals, national spotlight, everything a quarterback dreams of. But Cam remembered the empty inbox. He remembered who showed up when no one else did. Washington State couldn't offer the most money, but they offered loyalty, and Cam Ward chose belief over comfort. He packed his bags, traveled nearly 2,000 miles from home, and once again bet on himself and the coach who bet on him first. The climb wasn't over. It was just getting steeper. Pullman, Washington wasn't home, but it became proof. In 2 seasons at Washington State, Cam Ward didn't just play, he announced himself. Nearly 7,000 passing yards, 48 touchdowns through the air, 13 more with his legs. Efficiency, control, creativity. He gave the Cougars relevance they hadn't felt in years. And yet, when the season ended, doubt crept back in. The NFL draft loomed, loaded with quarterback talent. Cam believed he belonged at the top. The league wasn't convinced. Scouts liked the tools but wanted more polish, more proof. Another year. Cam had a choice: declare and accept uncertainty, or take the long road one more time. So he chose Miami. One last season, one final bet. Under the brightest spotlight he'd ever played in, Cam delivered the year of his life. Over 4,300 passing yards, 39 touchdowns, school record shattered, a 10-win season, a Heisman finalist, winner of the Davy O'Brien Award. The talent had never changed, only the world's attention had. On April 24, 2025, in Nashville, everything came full circle. With the first pick in the NFL draft, the Tennessee Titans select Cameron Ward. The kid from West Columbia, the zero-star recruit, the quarterback no one chased, now the face of a franchise. Cam Ward didn't rise because he was chosen, he rose because he refused to disappear. In a sport obsessed with hype and shortcuts, his journey is a reminder. Greatness doesn't need permission, it doesn't need stars, it doesn't need approval, it just needs belief. And if Cam Ward has proven anything, it's that when belief meets work, the rest eventually has no choice but to follow. This is Cam Ward's story, and it was never supposed to be easy.